Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch Div Stream. As usual, I'm your host, Mike. Hello, how's it going? Oh, having a good time today. We're gonna hop right in. If this is your first time here, welcome. Glad to have you with us. I am a developer for Last Epoch, and I'm gonna play some Last Epoch and answer some questions if you got them. So if you have some questions, please put at Last Epoch Game in the question in Twitch or just at Last Epoch in YouTube, and I'll get those brought over and I'll do my best to answer as many of them as I can, as well as I can. Yeah, in the meantime, I did get an upgrade to my my chest. I missed the T6 roll that I was going for, but did get a 7.5, which is pretty good with relevant stats. It's okay, we've got another one to try on with better base stats anyways. And I did Rune of Creation, the Exalted first, so like I could just use it again, we'll see. Courtesy of my buddy. Thank you. I'm gonna turn Prism Wraps off, maybe. We've got a lot of those. A lot. So many 1LPs of these. We need I've got a 2. I'm just looking for a helmet for it. Or for an Exalted. And starting off strong, there's our first sub. Look at that. Fire away, 71. Please fire away the questions. Thank you very much for the sub. Yeah, we stream for charity. I should mention that. All of the anything that comes in through the stream, it all goes up to whoever's above my head. Right now, it's Child's Play. All right, first question, when can we expect a barbarian class? I would caution using the word expect on there. It is possible that we may eventually do a barbarian class, but there is no clear indication on timeline or guarantee that we will do it. I do think it's a really good option. I think there's like, it's fighting for a spot with like a hunter class, like a bow wielding primalist, which I also think will be awesome. You know, it's probably in there. I think those would probably be the 2 front runners, I think, judging from like requests we get from people. Just all sorts of these. Oh, nice. A lot of int. We want health and health regen. We want flat health and flat health regen, I think, are the 2 things we want there. Could be wrong. Oh no, increase health regen. Oh, Wraith. Yeah, level of Wraith. That's the problem. We got level of Skeleton. Still good. Not what we're looking for. What is a mastery you would like to see in the game, and why is it barbarian? I mean, I'd really like to see hunter in the game. I think probably one of the things I'd like to see a lot, if we're just going off like personal wants, so 3 will be there. Is like some other void wielder. Like we only have one. Like if you look at the distribution of which classes have significant interaction with which different elements that we have in the game, like there's tons of physical everywhere, there's tons of these 3 elements everywhere. There's a very solid amount of poison. Pretty well every class can do poison well. Mage not so much. Sentinel not fantastic either, but the other 3 yes. And then Necrotic is very limited where it shows up, and Void is very limited where it shows up. So I'd love to see more representation for both of these. So like a void themed non-sentinel class and a necrotic themed non-acolyte class. They're both tough to pull off. And I don't know what they would be or where they would show up, but those would be like if you're like, hey Mike, you get to pick. It's probably where I'd go first. But guess what? I don't get to pick. And that's fine. All right. Why not both Hunter and Barbarian? Yes, that would be fantastic. I mean, there's a limited amount of time we have to do things. And 10 new skills, or at least 8 new skills if we're doing 2, you know, 4 in each would be sort of the bare minimum. And then like a passive tree for each one of them, so that's like 40 passive nodes. We are just rolling in the loot lizards today. Woo! What was that? What was that? Oh my goodness! You know, let's not die. Let's just pretend that that's the plan, is not to die. Where's that? 2. Not fantastic. We need 3s. I'm up at 400 corruption, which is I have a tough time with, but I can do it. I was playing up at 450 with my buddy the other night. We were doing great though. I think he was carrying me a bit. I really want to get this up to like at least killing Aberoth before I'm off, and then hopefully killing Uber Aberoth, but when I get back. How would you say craft and acquisition has impacted day to day for you? Any big challenges or wins? I mean, the only impact it's had for me personally on a day-to-day basis is that I now have one more meeting every week for a new project that we spun up because it got greenlit after the acquisition. That's about it for me personally. I've been very much business as usual. And it's been fantastic. Ooh, that was a close one. Give him a little bit of space. Just a little bit of space. He needs to cool down for a bit. Okay. Do we have enough for one of these? Not even remotely close. We're hunting ancient bones because we need more skulls. I promised myself that I would start dealing with sorting this. I didn't at all. Just terrible. Just terrible. Go there. Tab is not full. Oh yeah, lots of room up here. You know, we picking up these things. All right, we found spots for stuff. I don't think we're ready to bump that up. Yeah, let's uncover some stuff. Have you guys thought about introducing an item to re-roll LP? Yes. Even if it is super rare, like the item already rolled with perfect rolls and at least one LP, and we could re-roll. Yes, we have considered things like that. We don't have any plans to re-roll, to put anything like that in the game right now. I don't know if it matters. So just like going off the idea that you posted there, I don't think it makes a difference if the item has LP or not already, really. I I mean, like it's kind of what a 0 LP version is with the with Nemesis. It's like that's the LP reroll for 0. We kind of use the if it's got 1 or it didn't work out too well to be like for the rerolling stats on it. Oh, we did. What am I talking about? We did add this, didn't we? It's one of the Woven Echoes. What am I talking about? It almost always go down, but it can go up. It's not an item, so it's not itemized. So I guess that's the difference. I mean, it kind of is because the Woven Echo itself is an item that has to drop. It's an item with extra steps. Alright. There is no or almost no animation for Sacrifice Necromancer. Currently, it's difficult to see the AoE of the spell. You mean the VFX, not the animation? Do you plan to add an animation for it? I mean, unless it's instant cast, it has to have an animation of some sort, or else it's just a bug. So like by animation, when we talk, this is a pretty common. Go over there, guys. So like when you see, stay over there. When you see the character like pull its hands up, that's like the animation. That motion of like that like whoa, that's like the animation. The VFX, which I think is what you're talking about here, is the like that blood splatter explosion. So like it does have one, but yes, it is fairly minimal. I think that probably comes from situations where it was like chaining and there was a ton of it. If you think you'd like to see it with more, or even just a different one, I mean, you could ask for a cosmetic variant of it as well. It's probably a good place to put something like that. All right. Let's not die here. Let's try not to die. We might though. Okay, is the current abomination style of place minion skills on bar, summon minions, summon a bomb, remove minion skills from bar something intended, or is it something that might get changed? Seems to be the same vein of gear snapshotting that got addressed. So this is definitely different than gear snapshotting. This is something that we considered when we were doing it, because of the way that A-bomb handles like what it's going to absorb. It is kind of intentional. It's a bit of a pain to do, and I'm not sure if there's a better way to do it or not, but it is intentionally like there the way it is, and like that doesn't mean that it's perfect and can't be changed, but it is that way, that we did know what we were doing when we made it that way. It's not an accidental situation. Right. Like the goal with it is to be as smooth gameplay as possible. It does have the issue where, because it is like a combination of your other minions, and because the customization levels afforded to the player for those for what those like combinations are, it's a little tricky to give those options while still allowing people to use abilities as they're playing. Does that make any sense? All right. Weekly reminder, character sheet rework. Yeah. Still in the plan book. Don't let us forget it. All right. I like this one, less damage from distant. Those just like shots out of nowhere, those ones that surprise me. All right. Did it go to 4? It did not go to 4. That's too bad. Could have been a contender. All right. Thoughts on PvP mode or just enabling some PvP elements for LE? Yeah, I think it would need a... there's another question that's related. Any talks or plans for a competitive mode like Arena, but where most importantly you do not have to wait for waves, which would make it fun? Okay, it's a little different, I think. But yeah, I think there's... So talking about the first one here, I think the... PvP is fantastic. I love PvP. I wish we could have it. I want to add it. It was one of the first things we did when we were testing our multiplayer. I think that PvP has the potential to be a lot of fun. I think that there is also the potential for it to add a lot of dev time and dev attention that needs to go with it in order to have it be serious and competitive. And specifically just because there's so many opportunities for like, oh, this whole system was designed and developed in a PvE environment, like all the abilities, like Shield Bash was developed in a PvE environment. All the rules for like things you can do to enemies and things that enemies can do to you were all created in a PvE environment. And having a PvP show up suddenly can cause a lot of problems with a lot of those abilities. So we'd have to remake a lot of abilities, change a lot of nodes. Like there's a huge amount of work to have it actually be competitive. Now we could put a version in, and I'd really like this, where it's just like it just works, and there's no balancing and there's no real prizes for it, and it's just fun. I'd love that. I think that's fantastic. I don't think it would go over great. So I think we probably aren't going to have it anytime soon. I would love it. And as usual, if you want to see something, drop it in the suggestions channel on Discord or forums too. Best place to put it to get it added if you want to see it. All right. Arena competitive mode. Okay, so the arena already is a competitive mode, really, but I guess that it is, unless you're talking like like Dr. Mario style competitive mode. And so what I mean by that is Dr. Mario is Tetris, except whenever you clear things, you can like send extra pieces over to the other side. So it like, as you do better, it makes it harder for the other side to like, it's a head-to-head sort of situation. And you know, you could do something where like the waves just, as every time someone kills a wave spawns on the other side as well, as on top of like the wave spawning. And so things like that is like, I could see that being interesting. It would definitely move the action forward faster. And that's the sort of, I know I've mentioned on stream before different types of PvP where you can do basically PvEVP. That's, I don't know, PvPVM, PvMVP. I don't know what the term for it is. When you're both doing PvE things in a way that affects the other because it's competitive, and whoever does it better gets the things. Yeah. PvEVP, EVPVP. Yeah, you know. Second part to that question, will we see a ladder for corruption level? Yeah, we are working on some more ladders. I don't know when they're coming, but corruption was one of them. That was like the obvious first suggestion. There is a bit of a tricky thing of like what counts as like successfully like achieving that rank in corruption. And maybe if you have ideas on what you'd like to see here, that's a good thing to put in. But the like, is just getting to that corruption level what's important, or is it completing a specific task at that corruption level? Like, do you have to kill the timeline boss at that corruption level? Do you have to is it like whenever you increase the corruption, the one you just came from is what actually gets recorded? You know, like there's different ways that you can put that benchmark where like different builds and different metas will evolve, and we're not sure, I'm not sure anyways, what's the most healthy way to do it. Because you can say like, okay, well, it's just as long as you unlock the corruption, that's fine. So then there's situations where like you get to the point where you're like just barely able to do it, but then you like drop it down just a little bit more, and then you have to like stack up as much total corruption in one go at a time, so it like bounces up as high as possible. Then maybe you can't do it once it's gone up to that level. There's all sorts of weird, like, I guess meta decisions that can be made to like get tiny bumps. And maybe that's a good thing, and especially in a competitive environment, that's the sort of thing that people like to do, especially in a game like this where people like min-maxing things. That was close. That was really close. I also realized that like an idiot, you can't even see it because of my health, my face, but my crit strike avoidance is only 91%, and then I also have reduced damage taken from crits at 42%, so I'm like straddling both of them, and neither one of them is full for some stupid reason. I don't know why I've done this. Alright. Do you have any plans to buff defenses in the endgame? It seems to me the only builds that can push higher are the ones who forego defenses and go all in on offense. Correct if I'm wrong. Yeah, so there is this there is an interesting relationship between pushing corruption and offense and defense. And so there's this thing where when you're playing sort of like normally, and you get to about 500 to 800 corruption or so, it's usually where defenses start becoming so much more important than offenses. And then as soon as you kind of start pushing into the several thousand corruption range, it kind of flips on its head, and there is no way to have defense high enough to survive anything anyways, so you might as well just go all in on offense and just kill things before they kill you. And I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, or needs changing or doesn't, or if we did, how it would, like, I don't really know the best way to address it, if it needs addressing even. I do like that builds evolve as you go higher, as you're pushing, new things are required. I think that's a good thing, but I think that the idea that a balanced build is not viable in super endgame stuff is a little disappointing. Bit of everything answer there. I need to make room for stuff. Where's my deal? Oh, we're getting close to another stash tab. That's how you solve your space problems. Don't get rid of stuff, just buy more tabs. God. Oh, I need to organize it so bad. Last Epoch Mobile. I mean, that'd be sweet, right? I don't no. There's I haven't heard anything. I have never heard anyone seriously suggest Last Epoch Mobile on our team. People joke about it all the time, or have joked about it in the past, but like, I've never heard a serious like suggestion in a design meeting where someone's like, how do we make this work now? I don't think a game design, like taking a game design with one control scheme in mind and then flipping it into a new control scheme, is almost never a good thing. there are exceptions to this, definitely. Like adding WASD to Epoch was a great idea. Going from like, because there's so many inputs that are required to have quickly accessible, I don't think mobile's the best platform for that. I think we'd have to make a different game for it. I think it would have to be a distinct game. Which I'd rather focus on just the one for now. Let's get really amazing at making this. Are Primordial uniques intended to be one-off for this update's mechanic, or are they something that in the future updates may be expanded upon to add additional thematic and powerful uniques for the current new content? Yes, there is space to add new Primordial uniques to the game as we go. I wouldn't say it is like, I would not expect to see new Primordial uniques every single patch in the same way that you see new regular uniques every single patch. But like, it is the sort of thing that is available to us to be used as a tool if we wanted to. So if we were like trying to take an archetype and give it a really clear signpost Primordial unique to like really shine, you know, we definitely are able to do that and add that, no problem. If there's one that's not really working well enough, we might rework it or something like that. You know, like there's room to change them and add to them, even remove from them if we wanted to. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But I think that yeah, I wouldn't expect to see like the same sort of automatic cadence that happens with Exalt or with uniques, just regular uniques. Alright. Is there a chance to have one Primordial for gear and one for weapons? Not just one for the entire build? I mean, there's always a chance, but I wouldn't count on it at all. No. If you want to see it, suggestions channel on the Discord, I would really not get your hopes up on that one, though. Any plans for harder future achievements? I'll give some dope cosmetic rewards. Yeah. Yes, we are working on an achievement system. I think there's space for, my goodness, just taking damage there. I think there's space for like cosmetic rewards, especially for things that are like significant feats of strength. I'd love to see like a cosmetic reward for like completing Aberoth and then completing Uberoth and then maybe completing Uberoth under a certain amount of time, or you know, I'd love to see some really weird feats of strength, like complete Uberoth with only one ability on your bar, or I don't know, things like that are you're just complete Uberoth without ever using an ability in the fight. I don't know if that's possible, but things like that I think could be a lot of fun. There is room here. Hey, it's what sort button's for. All right. Next question. Any plans to expand idol crafting? Getting great idols is still one of the most drawn out stretch goals in the game. Yeah, that is pretty intentional that it is a stretch goal. Something that you are still able to improve upon. We try not, and there are exceptions to this, unfortunately. We try not to make idols the like linchpin of a build, like the thing that enables the build from existing. Did I? Oh my god, I just clicked too fast. That's dumb. I do that a lot. It's entirely on me. I think that there's room. I'm curious why the team decided to focus on adding a new act this season instead of expanding the endgame. The story is already quite long and it feels like the game could really benefit from more endgame content first. We get a huge number of requests for it. This is one of those things where I think there's... it's tricky. It's also something we've been working on for quite a while. So it's... it is tricky because we get a lot of conflicting requests on what to add to the game. So there's quite frequently someone will be like, we'll get a request that gets sent in like, please add A. And then we'll get other requests that are just like, please add the opposite of A. And they literally can't exist at the same time, sort of thing. That's quite tricky to deal with. Often you have to like drill down as to why people are asking for those things and to like find a way to possibly add something else that doesn't conflict with it in order to actually get both of the issues solved. Unfortunately, with something like this, where people are saying like, okay, we want more, we want the story to be finished, and other people are like, okay, we want more endgame content. Those things conflict with each other because they are, it's just the time requirement to do them conflicts. So we kind of have to prioritize between them as we can figure out what the best thing to prioritize is. And we haven't added anything to the campaign in a very long time, but we've added lots to the end game very recently. So, you know, that last season we knew it was going to be a smaller one overall, and we thought it was a good time to get in some updates to the campaign. Got it. Let's just put this in because I don't know what else to do. Why not? I need more. I wonder if my loot filter is allowing through 0 LP versions of the uniques I'm trying to use. Must be. That's a lizard. That's also a lizard. Got him. If it makes you feel any better though, next season will, I don't know, depending on who's listening, it will make you feel better or worse. Next season will not include another chapter to the end to the game, but it will include changes to the end game. And 1.3 did have endgame updates and endgame expansions to it. Like, there was pretty significant stuff with build crafting that was expanded on, specifically with Primordial gear that we were just talking about. That had pretty big implications for endgame in general. It's funny though, but items are only considered. This is something I've learned, and it's not true for everyone, but I think in general, items are only considered content if it's something that is being withheld. So like if, for the record, we're not doing this, but hypothetically, if there was a way to physically purchase with real money an item, that the only way to get it was to be with item, that would be you're locking content behind a paywall, and that's bad, and that is bad. But if you just add an item to the game in general that can drop, that's not adding content to the game. So it's items only exist as content if it's being restricted. If that makes any sense. All right. Get in that stash. I kind of want to take a minute and like see if I've got a weapon. Actually, I'm supposed to switch my amulet over to Death Rattle. I don't want to, but I'm supposed to. So let's unique amulet Death Rattle. Let's get it in the purple zone. In the purple zone. Better. All right. Let's just show me all the death rattles. Now, do we have any? We do. We have a 1 LP one. Sweet. And a legendary one with flat health regen on it, but it's terrible flat health regen. T5. It's not that terrible, but it's still terrible. Right, do we have an amulet, an exalted amulet with health regen on it? I mean, really, we could take any exalted, any T7 amulet and just jewelry, any T7 amulet, and get health regen onto it. A lot of health there. Let's see if we can craft something here. Do any of these just have health regen that we can roll it into? Is health regen a prefix or a suffix? Always suffix. What? Is suffix? Is suffix? Oh, I'm just blind. I am just straight up blind. Shuffles the tiers, non-sealed affixes. That's what we're looking for. Wow, last one. All right. Let's go do a thing. That was frustrating. What we got there. Probably shouldn't have wasted it on that. We're trying stuff out though. Who knows? In the future, will it be possible to respawn in an echo? I mean, part of the issue there is that when you die, we need to extract the cost of dying, which is it level 1, right? Level 36. Yeah, that's fine. Which part of that is like losing progress and having it restart. And in that process, we need to remove you from the scene. So we might find a way to do that. We don't have a way to do it right now. All right, that's a ton of skill points removed. We'll see what that does. Might be good, might be bad. Should probably look and see like what got removed. It's probably some important nodes that are just like gone now. We're just gonna roll with it and see what happens. Let's also set our to show affix health regen. Health regen per second. Advanced individual affix more than or equal to 7. Same purple. This is our, there we go. It's our death rattle hunting. What are we doing? Where are we going? This way, that way, forwards, backwards. 2 questions. First, do you think a Seasons Pass or Battle Pass equivalent would ever be incorporated into LE? Maybe, with a giant asterisk beside it, but I'll get into that in a second because I've talked about this before in quite length. How do you personally feel about, please don't delete that yet, Derek. How do you personally feel about limit time items that once gone players can't get anymore, specifically for this question, seasonal MTX rewards from a Battle Pass? Okay. Okay, so we'll start off with the easy one here. Mechanically unique items that can never be got again. I think are okay in the situation where they only exist on Legacy. So we do have mechanically unique items that exist on Legacy characters that you can't get anymore because they existed at one point, and when a change happened, the affix got pushed from a regular affix onto a sealed affix. Oh my god, these boots are terrible. What? How long have I been using these terrible boots? Okay. As soon as an affix doesn't exist on a slot anymore and the season rolls over, that affix gets shifted to a sealed slot on that item. And it can exist on an item when it shouldn't be there. So there are mechanically unique items that can exist in Legacy, and that's okay to a degree, I think. Especially because it's in sort of this like the non-competitive environment. It's usually a situation that doesn't really matter too much. There's no meta that's going to evolve around having specifically like items that shouldn't exist or something like that. Or if there was, we'd probably address it, because there needs to be a way that people who are, and this is the important part, is that people who are entering the game as the game's ecosystem need to be able to be competitive with everyone else in that situation. So if someone entering the game can't and wants to compete with other people who are enfranchised players and have a long-standing account, if those players that are entering just have no chance of competing because they weren't there when the game was released, that's a big issue. Now the issue of MTX at all becoming like Legacy MTX, where like they don't exist anymore, I think that can be fine too in certain situations. We do have that already, where there are certain MTX that's impossible to get. Usually they came from like supporter packs, like really old supporter packs. Most of the time they're not really super sought after ones, because the quality of the MTX has improved a lot as well over the years. But I can show you some that are like impossible to get now, if anyone's interested. Or some got some pets probably. Here's one. Oh, I should go to town so you can see it better. I laugh because it looks not the best one we've done. There's an even worse one. Where's the turtle? Where's my turtle? Oh, there it is. Yeah, big volcanic turtle. This one's cool. This one you'll actually see. Give it a second. Give it a second. Might not do it because I'm spamming attack command. It explodes. It erupts. Its back erupts, and it's like this big explosion thing. It's cool. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, so I think there are situations where that can be okay. It doesn't feel great in a lot of situations, and like when we've done limited time Twitch drops, for example, where these are things that anyone can earn as long as they're just there at the right time and there's no purchase required for it. Those things we've said, like, okay, it's like limited time Twitch drop, but then we'll have like a redux for it, and they'll come back for like another week or something like that, and then like they go away again. They come back again like in a month after that. So like having those is having limited time opportunity to get free MTX is fine, I think, as long as there are situations where they can come back again, or be limited for like a really good reason. I don't know what it would be. But yeah, I think when they're free and they're just there for showing up at a specific time, lots of times people just like aren't available at that time, and they didn't get the opportunity to even have it. And that's really frustrating. So we try to make sure that in situations like that, we bring them back for another, like a second shot at it at some point. So to the root of the question, in the situation of a battle pass specifically, where'd the question go? Yes, thank you. Battle pass, okay. Thank Thank you, Derek. I just wanted to make sure I remember the question. I knew it was gonna be a tangent, a rambler. That was a lot of health regen on that helmet. Hand was one off on the keyboard. I think that it is possible to do a battle pass and have it be a very positive thing. I think there are examples out there of this happening. I don't know any off the top of my head. I think there are way more examples of battle passes being done in a not positive way. And I think that I think people have had a lot more exposure to not positive forms of battle passes, and therefore they get this sort of like, they get a bit of a bad rap, I think, as a whole, because there's this idea that they'll like, most of the time they're done in a way that's not very positive, and therefore if one's going to exist, it's probably going to be in a way that's not very positive. So I think there's like that layer of like, it sounds terrible to say this, but like battle pass prejudice that needs to be like overcome in order to release one successfully. And I think you have to be really careful about how you do it if you're going to do it. As far as I'm aware, there's no plans to do a battle pass in Last Epoch, so I don't know if it's going to happen. I think it's possible to do it well, and I think if it is done well, it can actually be a really great thing to have in the game. I think it can drive interaction and like give purpose to specific things that might not be something you try to do in a season. I think it can also give you like just small incremental rewards, especially for a new player, that says like you're doing the right thing, you're on the right path, and just having that signposting of like, this is what you're supposed to be doing, yes, good job, for a new player is really useful. And it kind of, you can bring it in universe a little bit. I think it's better when they're brought in universe, and maybe they don't seem like battle passes always, because really, like, what is a battle pass but like a structured quest line, you know? Like frequently the like requirements for it is just like get more XP or whatever, like just play more. And that can be fine. I think that the ones that are more successful generally incorporate specific actions of things you need to do. It's almost like a temporary achievement system more than a battle pass. And like the lines of these things and like the terms on what gets used, it's so blurred. But I think one of the key defining features of a battle pass as opposed to like an achievement system is that usually, not always, but usually there's this like paid version of it. And the most important thing I think with a paid version of it is that it doesn't let you progress through the pass any faster, and it doesn't give you any mechanical advantages from the pass. So you have to any sort of paid addition to a battle pass needs to grant cosmetics. Like you could, yeah, no, not really. So specifically about limited time items that once gone, players can't get any more. Specifically, this question towards seasonal MTX rewards from a battle pass. So in this situation, I think that if there were free, or even I think if there were free MTX achievable through a battle pass system, I'd like to see those be brought back for future battle passes. Not necessarily every season, but I'd like to see them be like a. I think the ideal way to do it would be like there's a pool of say 20 MTX that can exist in this battle pass, and each season 4 of them show up, and that pool maybe gets bigger by 2. There's like each season there's like 2 new ones and 2 from the pool, 2 new ones and 2 from the pool, and it like so they keep coming back, and there's a chance you can get them in the future, sort of thing. I think something like that would be appropriate. I could be so wrong about all this too. Sort of just my gut feeling on a lot of this. I think it would take a lot more discussion, and I'd be really interested to hear what people have, like what people want as well. Cool. Done with that one, Derek. I know it was a rambler. Sorry. All right. Hey, Mike. Glad to see you. Glad to see you too. Sort of. Have there been talks, without giving details, of another endgame feature beside monoliths? Why? There's always talks about things like this. one of the really key things about the monolith is that it is quite flexible. Ooh, just a note here. Someone just mentioned to me that Helldivers 2 has a really great battle pass with their war bonds. Apparently they called. I haven't played it yet. But it sounds like a really good way of doing it. If we were going to do a battle pass system, I'd go looking for really good ones and try and see what works well. And that sounds like a good place to start. Okay, back to the question I was just on. Oh, don't die. Other endgame features besides monoliths. Yes, so there's... Monolith is very flexible. There's a lot of things, as we've just proven with Woven Echoes, there's a lot of things you can put in it to use it as sort of like a framework to present other endgame mechanics. Well, hello there. What do we have here? Oh, that's okay. Like, that is a weirdly similar item to what I, like... that's where it came from. Okay. So did that one. It's funny. All right. Yes. Space. Glorious space. I think I'd really like to get the dungeon system a kick in the pants. I don't know if we need another, and if you've got an idea for a framework to fit endgame mechanics inside of that's other than the monolith, I'm very interested to hear what that is. There's quite frequently we've talked about other systems than the monolith. Like very frequently when we start talking about the systems other than the monolith, we're like, we get to a point in someone's pitch that they've got for this, and it kind of goes, okay, so why don't we just put this in the monolith? Like, what's the problem with doing that? Because it has like a good scaling system to it. It means that you can push multiple systems at the same time, and you're not wasting time. One of the big issues with, I'm gonna say the dungeon system, for example, is if you ignore the dungeon system for a long time, and then you go push monoliths hard, and you get to 1,000 corruption of monoliths, and they're a god in the game, and then you come back to the dungeon system, and you go, uh-oh, now I have to complete tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 dungeons, and they're just boring when you're that powerful because you just roll through everything. And I think that having those systems be completely split up means that there's times where you are not where you're having to go back into a previous system. So there either needs to be gates, so simultaneous gates, where it's like, in order to increase your corruption above 300, you have to complete tier 2 dungeons. In order to push your corruption, in order to complete tier 3 dungeon, you need to push your corruption to 400. So like, there's this like relationship between the two that causes you to bounce back and forth between them, which I don't think people would appreciate really. Or they're gonna have this issue where pushing one means you're too powerful for the other. So that incentivizes us to tie future endgame systems into the monolith. Because it is such a broad framework, it makes it really easy to do that. Not saying that we won't ever change that or do anything outside of it by any stretch of the imagination. I think that's just probably a look behind why you see like the Woven Echoes. They got the whole Woven Echo system originally, actually, I don't think was supposed to be like incorporated in the monolith itself, and we kind of just got to a point where like pretty early on in the system, I think it was like, why not? I think it works. I think it's for the better that it is. So it is tough to come up with a good reason not to incorporate new endgame mechanics into the monolith system. It's kind of like yeah. All right. Hey, Mike. All right, it says, have you thought about the idea of making crafting shards more hard to get, or some of them, so we feel like we have to farm them a bit more, or feel more rewarding to get them? So they used to be a lot harder to get, and it used to be a lot trickier. And like the feedback we frequently got was wanting more of them, sort of thing. It's also one of those things where we didn't have a lot of ooh, piece of candy type rewards. And that's a lot of where that comes from, is that they're sort of just like a little, like a trickle of awesome stuff. Like gold similar, but they're like a little bit nicer to get than gold. Picking stuff up is nice. I don't know. I like picking up loot, and having them show up is great. I think that there is an argument to be made for them being too common now, or there's also an argument to be made for them not being deterministic enough, where you need to be able to like find specific ones, and that's the issue. Yeah. Yes, we've thought about things like this lots. Oh, what do we have here? Spike! Thank you very much for the 28-month resub. Very awesome. Very awesome. Appreciate you. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, we don't need that, right? Still a cool item. Any chance to apply corruption modifiers to dungeon and arenas? What a well-timed question. Didn't even see that, actually. So yeah, this ties into what we were just talking about really well. I'd say it's unlikely. I think thematically it doesn't work. That's the sort of the short answer. I think if we were gonna do it, I think it would be a system where you'd have to take like items found at higher corruption that you could like slot in to like trigger a higher difficulty or something like that. So like you could find this is actually, I kind of like this idea. You could find like modifier items in the monolith that you can like slot into the arena that cause it to be juiced. It's not bad. Someone write that down. Exchanging the veteran boots for a difficulty mode. Any chance of that ever happening? Going back to that, it's unlikely, I think, at this point. We might go back to it. I don't know. That's the way it used to be. It's rare that something like that gets fundamentally changed back, but it's possible. If you want to see it, suggestions channel is the best place to put it. Ooh, my goodness me. That was close. I just realized we've been playing with Death Rattle instead of our other amulet for a while now, because we didn't see our beasts. Haven't seen our beastie boys. All right, after playing a Necro this season, how do you feel about their survivability? Do you feel like they still need some small adjustments? I'm really used to dying a lot. I don't know. I don't know if it is. I don't know if. Thanks, Justin. I don't know if it needs more survivability or not. It might. I don't think that I'm playing at a high enough level to really have a first-hand experience idea on what the survivability of this needs to be long term. We're just taking my experience playing this Necro here, because that's how the question's framed. I think there's a lot of defenses that are afforded to you by being a minion build in general, by just being able to like go where's the button? That's the button. Go over there and fight for me. And like, so you can extend your reach as a player where you're out of harm's way and you're able to cause them to fight really far away for you, sort of thing. And this capability is a really powerful defensive tool, but most of the time when you want to be When you want to go, you want to go. In which case, you're going with them, you're teleporting them with you, you're leading the charge, you're pushing forward yourself, and you're putting yourself in harm's way, which is how most builds are able to function nicely. And thematically, a Necromancer doesn't really function that great that way. I think there could be room for some mechanics where, do we? I don't even know if we still have this one. I should look. Do we still have cheat death on Necromancer, where it like kills minions to keep yourself alive? I know we have it where they can like take some of the damage for you, but like a full-on cheat death, I don't know. New boots, that's what I need. Bad. Previously, the conversation of multiple ring slots has been talked about. All right. I know balance and power creep always matters, but where would you stand if additional ring slots were for skill interaction changes or visual changes? That way the extra ring slots have purpose besides just adding more stats. I think if you're gonna add, no, I don't think this works. I don't think you can add additional ring slots and not be able to just put any ring in the slot. I don't think, I think that would be a fundamental mistake that we make. If we said like, okay, here's 2 new ring slots, but you can only put special rings in these slots. Like, I think the better way to do it is if you want to add another slot to do, to have that, if you want to add a new function to have that role, add a different slot. Add a shoulder piece there and make that what it does. Add a I don't know, a belly button ring, not a finger ring. Like change what the slot is so it's a fundamentally different base type. If it's gonna fit a fundamentally different role. And maybe they don't even have to go on your character sheet or something like that. Maybe like, you know, that's kind of what idols are doing, sort of thing. Like they're devoid of that system. Maybe it's maybe somewhere else completely, I don't know. But that's what blessings are, right? Blessings are items, literally. They actually are items, and they only go in really specific slots, so the way that you interact with them is not the way you interact with standard items, but literally blessings are actually items. And you know, I think there's other ways you could have like items and they go somewhere else, you know, to do those roles. I think that's where I'd look more than a ring slot specifically. But I do like the intent. Mike, good day, sir. Good day. Thank you for answering questions from the community. You're welcome. I love doing it. I worry sometimes that every time I answer, this is sort of a little side. Every time I answer a question, there's a small part of that's like, oh my god, I hope I just didn't ruin that answer. I've had to walk back some answers a few times, and it never feels good. But I try and do it as soon as possible. Okay, anyways, thanks for answering the questions to the community. You're welcome. I would really like to know your opinion on having a mid-season patch with new events and content to bring players back to the season after the main player drop-off. Thanks again. I think that in theory, it's a really great idea. And I would love it if we could try it again. I think the first time we did it, it was, it had a bit of a, I don't know what the term for it is. It was like doomed to fail almost a little bit when we did it the first time, because it was, the timing of it was when people were expecting a full patch. And so it was just like naturally not very exciting. We didn't market it almost at all, and it didn't work great. So like because we have done this before and it didn't go over fantastic. Like the people who played it really enjoyed it, but the number of people that played it was teeny tiny. So it's really hard to justify trying it again. A lot of these things are, we try something and we only have so much time to try so many things. And so if we've got 10 ideas and we try one of them and it doesn't go fantastic, it's really hard to justify trying that idea again. Even if there was things that like it was doomed to fail from the start, sort of thing. Like, I don't know if it was doomed to fail necessarily, but like there was the deck was stacked against it a little bit just from the get-go. And I think that if we were to try it again, we probably could do it better. However, would it be good enough? I don't know. Maybe not. And If there's other things we can do instead that we don't have clear evidence against, I think they're more likely to get greenlit. So I think that if we were going to do an event like that, it would have to be something extremely low effort. Like, effort's the wrong word. Low dev time investment. So it'd be something that we can take, like, because if we invest dev time into an event like that, it means that the next patch will be smaller and there'll be less things that come out in that next patch, or it will be delayed. So either we're taking longer between patches, or there's less coming out in each patch if we're having a mid-season event. It's just the way it is. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's impossible to do, but the time, the dev time and effort that goes into it needs to be worth it, sort of thing. So we'd have to be very, very efficient with something like that. All right. Are you considering a transmog system? Yeah. Yeah. I would more than willingly pay £20 or 20 euros. 20 euros. Yeah. To get all the unique item skins as transmogs. Yeah. It's, I do not know, how that's gonna be. Like, I don't know if you're gonna like pay for the ability to transmog. Maybe it's free. Maybe you pay for it. Maybe you pay for, like, I don't even know the different ways other games do it. I think it's been a long time since I played WoW. I think WoW was when I quit WoW for like the second time. I think it was just, and final time, just coming back or just being added where you could like pay $5 or something like that and have like one, like you could transmog one item or something like that. That seemed a little excessive. I think there's others where it's just like, you look at D3 where it's just every item can transmog into everything for free as soon as you've ever seen it type thing. Those are, I suppose, like the opposite ends of the spectrum sort of thing. Funny enough, both from the same developer. There's probably things I'm missing there. In either one of those, so I do apologize. Oh, nice. But yeah, I think transmog's on the table. Exactly how that looks, I have no idea. It's not imminent. I haven't seen a system for that yet. We have this is not new, by the way. We've talked about transmog. We've published things before saying transmog is on the list. Yeah, this is stuff we've talked about. I don't see some comments about transmog for next patch. I don't think it's coming next patch. I haven't seen anything about it actually happening or anything like that. So don't hold your breath about it. But it's on the table. Hey, Mike, Aaron Action ROG wants to know when we'll add powers into last epoch, like in D4. Oh, like seasonal temporary powers that go away at the end of the season for everyone. I haven't heard any plans to do that. I guess that's all I can say about that. I have no knowledge of that being on the horizon. I don't want to say we'll never do something like that because it's possible, but let's fight a boss. Fight a boss. We don't need to do the hard. Did I not spawn the boss? Get it. Oh, get out of there. Yep, that was close. All right. Nailed it. Easy. Why was I worried about that? We like uniques. Okay. Two in a row. Let's go. What do you think of this idea? Repurposing the dungeons almost solely as campaign skips, i.e. making them more available at tier 1 throughout the campaign to accelerate leveling for alt characters. I mean, alts can already do it fantastic. They're already like fully accessible for alts at tier 1. Oh, we're gonna read the rest of this question. Don't delete that, Derek, please. Okay, making them more available at tier 1 throughout the campaign to accelerate leveling for alt characters. Okay, I guess it's just like adding more dungeons. I think it might be what it means. At the same time, at tier 3 to 4, they'd still be available to help farm build specific items. Thoughts? I mean, I think you're there's probably something you're suggesting here that I'm not understanding how it's different than what we have now. Yeah, I don't dislike it. I'd really like to see. I think if I'm going to give you my personal thoughts on dungeons where they are sitting right now in the game and how I'd like to see them change personally. Not saying this is what's going to happen at all. I'd love to see our procedural generation system function with it properly. I think that's the most important number one thing that has to happen with them as soon as possible. I'd love to see more of them. I'd love to see like 3 more get added into the game so that they are in the campaign in such a way that you can go through the campaign very quickly by doing almost exclusively dungeons. If you were on like a extremely powerful character with like twink gear, you just like run through the whole thing no problem and go. And also, if I'd like to see them be possible to attempt at on a character that is naturally progressing through the campaign. So like first character, you're going through the campaign, going through the dungeons, I'd love to see as an option for players that are really experienced and really good and playing high power builds to actually do. So being able to like, you don't I think you just don't need a key for tier 1 is the answer. I think tier 1 no key, double the number of them, and use procedural generation. I think that's what I'd like to see for dungeons. I think that last point of procedural generation for them is a lot bigger than you'd think deal to do. So I tried to make that happen this patch, and I got told very clearly no. But there's like I think there's room to make dungeons a better tool for really enfranchised players to be able to get through the campaign faster. But have it be extremely difficult. Like it should be really hard to do that, especially on a fresh character. Like that should be unbelievably hard. You need like planning and skill and like all these things to make it happen. But if you have thoughts on what you'd like to see with the dungeons, please put on suggestion channel or expand on this question, because I think I may have misunderstood what you're asking for. Because what you've asked for, I think, is what we have already. All right. Can we have runes, glyphs, keys, and charms be auto pickup like gold? It is technically possible for us to do. As far as I know, there's no plans to do it. If you want to see it, suggestions channel is the best place to ask for it. This is one of those things where it is every couple patches we kind of like give in just a little bit to the like. There's the everything is always. You have to pick it up like one at a time, everything individual pickup. You walk over it, click on it, everything. And then on the other end, there is like, so this is like Diablo 2, original Diablo, where everything you have to pick up. Far end over here is, there is literally nothing to pick up and everything automatically goes into your inventory at the end of whatever run you're doing. This is Magic Legends that fell on its face. And so if we're going to look at those two extremes, one of them is dramatically more successful long-term than the other. But people, we so frequently get requests to push us towards the other end of the spectrum. And somewhere in the middle, I think, is the perfect system. I don't know where it is. I think we're pretty close to it. And I think there needs to be some sort of intentionality with picking up items. I think that can be. I think that can be. Hey, I'm gonna walk over and it's gonna, because this is something that doesn't take up inventory space. But just by walking over it, that's enough. But you have to say like, I'm gonna go walk over to it. Yeah, I think that's where the line is in my mind. There are very vastly different opinions on this internally, and my opinion is not the only one that matters at all. But I think there needs to be some level of intentionality when picking up items. Yeah. And so like right now we've got it to be heavily automated compared to pick absolutely everything up, because you pick up a single glyph in an area or a single cracked material in an area and all of them pick up automatically. And gold, you just walk over and it picks it up. So like there are definite automations that we have added. We do frequently get requests to like just a little bit more automated, just a little bit more automated, just a little bit more automated. And like if we do this next one, if we say okay, cracked meat, everything that would vacuum, now you just walk over it, that's enough. Suddenly the request now is okay. Now the other request we get a lot, this would probably take over as the primary request, is okay, mini pets. Now mini pets have to go. Now mini pets can go do the same thing. So mini pets can go pick up everything. And then we're like, okay, let's not do everything. Let's just have mini pets pick up gold only, but you have to go pick up your shards. And then it's like, then the request becomes, okay, well now you want mini pets to go pick up the shards too. Okay, now mini pets can go pick up items, are gold and shards. Then there's the next request, and it's just like, it's these little incremental steps every single time. It's not a big deal. You're not changing that much, but 10 seasons later, and it's all automated and crappy. So we do have to be really careful about safeguarding that slope. And at some point we're going to get to the optimal position, but you can't really climb back up. You can't take away something like that. The backlash would be brutal. All right. Have guilds been thought about for last Epoch? Oh yes, many times. The item faction system, this was almost a guild system instead. Crazy, right? We were gonna call them warbands, and you were going to be able to trade freely inside of your warband. Or have like trade restrictions inside the warband, where it's like if it never got fully fleshed out, but like it would have been something along the lines of like, okay, you've achieved so much honor for your warband that you can now access the guild bank, basically. Hi, Mike, and happy Friday. Hello, happy Friday to you too. Can you confirm whether lizard tails are currently in game? Or what? Whether what are in game? I don't know. If so, how rare are they? How rare are what? I don't know what you're talking about. Doesn't look like anything to me. I actually don't know if they can naturally drop or not right now. Do you think two-handed Blade Dancer will be viable in the next season? I think it'll be more viable than it is now, just because there's just gonna be some new stuff that's getting added for it, and new tools breeds creativity and breeds new powerful builds that show up that we didn't expect. So I think it'll be more viable. It's definitely not something that we don't put like while wielding a two-handed weapon, or while wielding a two-handed sword, or while like we don't put nodes like that in Blade Dancer. Blade Dancer is very dual wielding focused, so we do primarily put while dual wielding nodes in there, or like per sword equipped, things like that. But that's not to say that there's no synergistic nodes for two-handed, and there are certain abilities that do lend themselves quite well to being two-handed. And there might be some new opportunities to work it in. I'd say it's going to be better than it was, but I wouldn't expect it to be a shining beacon of legendariness. Would you be willing to talk about the reason for arenas not having a lot of loot drops from enemies killed. Yes, I would. Personally, I avoid the area as a whole because of lack of loot. Yeah. Additionally, not having a way to increase item find / rarity in arenas is a turnoff. So, brief history lesson on arenas. It was, so we were, what is it, 7 years ago, I think? Little under 6.5 years ago, we were doing our Kickstarter. We launched the Kickstarter, and like, my first death all stream. I was like, in my head, I had just said to myself, maybe I'm not gonna die this stream. Dang it. Jinxed it. Anyways, Arena, yes, we just launched Kickstarter. And we're like 3 days into Kickstarter or something like that, and great reception. It was one of the busiest, most fun times I've ever had. So much work. If you're ever considering launching a Kickstarter campaign, it is an unbelievable amount of work. Just a heads up. And it is one of the first things that happened was so we had the free-to-play demo, which was basically like Lottery Highlands size, like times. It was like chapter 1 basically, or chapter 2 right now. Chapter A, which is chapter 2. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter what it was. It was a very short demo. You could get through. You hit about level 20 in the demo. That was it. And people were just playing it over and over and over and over and over again, and we were seeing people with like 100 hours in this demo, and the game's only been available on Kickstarter for like 3 days, and we're like, what's going on? I guess we have to make more content. How do we drop a ton of content really quickly without having to make any new levels for it? And the arena was born. We're like, let's just make an endlessly spawning wave fight. It was the fastest, quickest, easiest thing we could put in the game that would allow people to farm up to level 100 if they really wanted to, because you could farm to level 100 in the game at that point. There was skill points, like skills went to level 20. There was nodes and trees, like it was all there. The passive points there was huge amounts of passive points. People could see that they could do stuff, but there was no content to do it with. And so yeah, we slapped in the arena as fast as we could. And when we went to the first like early access release post Kickstarter, we kind of fleshed out the arena a little bit. We had extended to there was like 2 or 3 chapters at that point. And it's like 0.64, I think we named it. Was that release, or 0.61? Something like that. And we were concerned. This is very young EHG. We don't really know what we're doing at all. That we're like, okay, well, if we just put a way that people can take a Necromancer build, like what I'm playing right here, go stand in the middle of the arena and just let them go forever. You can just come back in an hour and hey, you've got a ton of loot. Great. And farming became an idle simulator. And we're like, this is dumb. We can't leave it like this, right? So we basically on the launch of the first early access version of the game, we kicked the loot drop from the arena in the teeth pretty hard. And it kind of just stayed that way as like a Mike, you gotta stop clicking those so fast. It kind of stayed that way as at least I did in Power, so that it'll give me a random unique. Eggs turn into random uniques if you empower them without putting anything in them. And sort of like as an anti-bot measure, because the easiest way to bot would be to make a bot like you could make a bot with just like num locking, basically, where you're standing in the center just like spamming abilities, and it would level up and get gear, sort of thing. And we left the arena was always became this like almost like an achievement hunting sort of scenario, like a bragging rights bar of how far can you go in this system, not can I use this system to make my character better. And that's sort of where it sits today. I think there's room for, we tried to make it a way that you could farm things in it with the limited arena, where you're at like the tier 4 limited arena. There's like specific loot defined where you can interact with the system, but we frequently get feedback on how much people hate the arena, especially the arena echoes that show up in the monolith. And there's various reasons for that. And we've been like the woven weaver tree has a lot of ways to make that a lot better, where it actually can be pretty profitable, and there's more systems that can start showing up in them, stuff like that. So there's room for evolution there still quite a bit. I don't know if we want, I just realized the question said not having live loot drops from enemies. The reason why the enemies themselves don't drop loot is because we wanted it to be people to focus on the killing and wait until the wave was over to pick up any loot. So there wasn't loot cluttering up the ground while you're fighting, because it gets quite difficult. And you're not moving on from those positions. So like this was also pre-loot filter as well, I guess. All right, have you thought about adding more skills to use beyond QWER, LMB, and RMB? Yes, many times. Hey Mike, looking good, man. Thank you. Have you guys ever thought about adding something like symbiote shards corrupt your gear with parasitic runes that grow stronger the longer you play without dying? Each shard gives a mutation, extra projectiles, shadow copies, blood trails, etc. But dying causes your shadow or your shards to mutate farther, changing affixes in unpredictable ways. Imagine your armor literally growing veins over time, or your weapon whispering after every kill. Yeah, there's lots of great ideas in there. I think that there is, if you want to put something, a large suggestion like that, like suggestions channel on our Discord or on our forums is a much better place to put stuff like that if you want to actually see it. That's a really cool idea. You know, there's many pieces of that I've seen in various pitches, all in one place. I've never seen it quite like that together, but yeah. Thoughts on adding higher temporal sanctum difficulties to guarantee more affix slams? Yeah, it's possible. It fundamentally changes the like the power balance of items in the game. I was looking for it. The pounce is exactly what got me last time. I was even looking for it. Apparently, I have evolved it to be too strong. This is the danger with the Rift Beast. It has great rewards, but great difficulty. Derek, can you bring that last question back? I don't know if I finished answering it. Oh, temporal sanctum. Yes, okay, sorry, I did. If you had to pick 3 archetypes you would like to be added into LE, in your personal opinion, not professional opinion, good distinction, what would they be? For example, barbarian style, monk style, bard, engineer, techie, witch doctor, etc. Okay, the 3 things that I'd personally like to see, not professionally like to see, and no indication on what might actually be being planned. I mean, so the first thing is I'd love to see more void theme, like a void themed caster, because we have a void themed melee class. I'd love to see a void themed caster. There's on a similar vein, we have like a necrotic caster, but we don't have like, we kind of have a melee necrotic thing with Lich. I think I'd like to see more of a like maybe a necrotic paladin or a necrotic rogue or something like that. Like I'd love to see that necrotic theme get into something else, and then I'd love that's like not paired with intelligence, basically. And then I'd love to see void get brought into another class, preferably not tied with vitality and or strength more specifically. So that's 2 things, but like styles of classes and things that aren't in the game that I'd love to see. Looking at like other games and archetypes that exist, the Guild Wars Mesmer it's like one of my favorite classes ever. I just love playing Mesmers. So that like if you don't know, it's basically like playing a blue mage in Magic. Like you're a lot of like counterspell type things and like mind damage and stuff like that. Love it. I think you kind of mentioned a bunch of them there already, so I'm trying to think of other things. A hunter, I'd love to see a bow class that is, we kind of have with the falconer, which is why it's, I think, less likely to happen, like a wolf and a bow sort of class. I'd love to see monk style, something like, once again from Guild Wars. The monk there was cool. I always loved the theming around the armor that you could get on your monk in Guild Wars, where it was just like tattoos, so you're like literally not wearing armor. It's just like different tattoos that change your like your gear is tattoos. I thought that was always really awesome. The theming around that was fantastic. I think that's the sort of stuff in there. Bard is definitely up there as well. All right, can you walk us through a regular work day of yours? Yeah, sure. So I usually have a morning stand-up meeting that's just brief touch base with other people on working on similar things to me, or if anyone can request meetings with people, or you just like mention the stuff you did yesterday, the stuff you're going to do today, that sort of thing. And then I'll usually have some combination of meetings for project A or project B that I'm working on. And I'm really glad my face is covering chat right now. Good golly. Completely lost my train of thought. Yeah. Day, yes. We'll have some sort of meetings based on a project or two here and there that I'm working on. Like, I can't really say what they are because I can't really tell you what projects I'm working on right now. But there's one every 4 days a week we have a meeting with a few people about it, and then there's like 2 days a week there's a different meeting we have regularly for just game design in general. But most of the time is just like pulling bugs off a list and fixing them, or working through tasks that have been assigned to me for a project that we're working on. I'm sorry I'm being so vague, because there's just like, usually I'm just working on this one big project that I've been working on for months. And there's meetings sprinkled in throughout that day. That's kind of it. It's pretty simple and straightforward for me. It's not super exciting. I don't know. There's a lot of meetings and working on tasks. All right. Does intelligence give 2% or 4% ward retention? Tooltip says 4%, but Tool says 2%. I think it's 2%, and you're right. The tooltip does say 4%. I think it was 4%. We changed it to 2%, and this tooltip may not have got updated. I think that's what happened. Yeah, this got updated, see? It's 2%. Good find. That character update needs to happen. Ask Cyborg, he'll get you on the reminder train for that. No, I'll here's what we're gonna do when we find a mistake in the game. Yeah, it held the tooltip. See, it held the tooltip. There we go. Character sheet tooltip for int has old 4% scaling and needs to be changed to 2%. Tooltip visual bug only. Done. Good find. Yeah, that's how you file a bug report. Almost like I've done it before. Oh, wait a second, I just realized something. I'm actually going to be streaming on Halloween. Okay. Okay. I'm going to take... maybe I should, never mind. I was gonna say I'm going to take costume requests, but I may have an idea that I might just want to surprise people with. If you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see me wear for Halloween, I'm willing to listen, but I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to do them because I do have a pretty good idea myself. If someone can come up with a better idea, then I'll do it. Well, if you can chat candy on Halloween, maybe. I don't know how, but I'd be down to try. Uh-oh. They've multiplied. There's some uniques there in all caps. Why did it not explode next to the one that I directly summoned it beside? Okay. Let's go find some stuff. 1 LP finger, 2 LP shroud. Not fantastic. It's okay though. Some cool stuff. I think I'm getting up in corruption and to the point where, excuse me, we're ready to tighten up the loot filter just a touch. Oh. Doing shoulders last night and it is really sore. Okay, I have another personal opinion question for you. Love it. What do you think about the following statement? Interesting. All right. Being original is great, but not always the best choice. Yeah, I agree. I like only a Sith speaks in absolutes. You know, so it's like, is anything always the best choice? I think being original for the sake of being original is usually a mistake. I think being original is usually a bonus. Like if you've got 2 equally awesome ideas for a game, let's say, and one of them's original and one of them's not, the original one is probably going to do better because it is original. But if you've got, you know, like if you're trying to come up with an idea, requiring it to be original, I think would be a detriment. Yeah. Personally, I don't understand the aversion to incorporating features that work in comparable games into others. If a game feature is enjoyed in a comparable game, why not make your own version, providing copyright or intellectual property theft is not an issue. Okay, so I understand what you're actually talking about here. I misunderstood it initially there. So this is specifically, I guess, talking about like in Last Epoch, if we were going to incorporate a component from like from PoE. So like let's what's something that we get that gets asked a lot to be brought over from PoE. Just like Orbs of Corruption. Like just corrupting items in general, and having the ability to, yeah, like that's just something that comes over a lot. Now we can't, if we were going to take something like that, we can't, like, I don't know what the rules around copyright are with something like this, but like we can't just take it wholesale one for one. Like we would have to, regardless of an intellectual property copyright issue, which obviously we don't want to have issues with, and you know we would respect any rules around that we have to do. Like that hopefully goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways just to be safe. But there's lots of elements. I think how should I say, the core issue with transplanting systems from one game to another is not in the intellectual property problems. It is in and it's not as a desire to be unique. The issue primarily comes from those systems being developed inside of the other game with specific interacting systems in mind. And so there's certain things that a system like that, or like any system that's in PoE or Diablo or any other game that is similar, that we can't just be like, okay, that looks great, let's make our own version of it, because it's in that game specifically to solve a certain problem, and it works in that game because it has interactions with other systems in that game. And so sometimes transplanting a system like that is relatively straightforward, and other times it is so complicated that even if you do it, after you do it, it looks so completely different that it doesn't even look like you've done that. So I can actually give an example of this. The legendary system in Last Epoch was originally created, like one of the things when it was being created that we were trying to do is capture the same magic of rune words in Diablo 2. It's this idea of having multiple, and like they're so different. The systems are so completely different that it's on the surface, it's almost impossible to tell that is something that's where it came from originally. Well, it's not where it came from originally, but that's like one of the goals. We're trying to mimic the same feature that runewords were trying to add to the game. We were trying to add something similar as a goal in Last Epoch. And so this is our way of giving players the way to achieve those same goals in Last Epoch as they are able to do with runewords in Diablo 2. Doesn't make any sense at all. Combine rare items together to make more rare item. Stepping stone drops, where you're like, I found a piece of the thing I'm trying to make as a whole item as I'm crafting it for later. Yeah. Hopefully that made sense. I feel like I just butchered that horribly, but it's okay. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's actually quite good. Is that as good? Is it better? No, probably not. Oh, you know what I just realized we have enough money for? Fresh tab. You know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to move good into its own new gooder. No, we're not doing that. It can be pink. Can have a star. Stuff that's actually good. Okay, grab that. There's stuff there that wants to be good, but it's just not quite there. Oh, you know what? See what happens when we go to like 500 corruption. We're just getting our ass handed to us. See what happens here. There's another question I'm going to try to do in a second. Okay. Yep, that was me at full health. I'm not ready for that fight. That corruption apparently. Nope. It's fine. It's fine. Mike's stash never disappoints. Oh gosh, that feels bad. All right, hello Mike Wazdi. Despite being experimental, was one of the best quality of life for me personally. Any plans on working on its rough edges soon, TM? Yes, yeah. There It was some updates we had for it last season. I would expect people are working. I don't know anything specific on it, but I would be surprised if there's not stuff being worked on it for this one. Individual skill interactions I know are getting smoothed out for it. There's certain situations we get reports all the time of like I'm using WASD and there's this situation that happens when I'm trying to use this ability with these nodes and it doesn't work right. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yes, yeah, it's popular. It's people really like it. It's here to stay. We're working on making it better. There's actually a whole bunch of animation work that's happening right now. It's gonna sound kind of weird, but for like, so splitting the torso and the feet, like splitting the animations for every action in the game, which there is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. May not seem like there's that many, but like just splitting the torso portion of the animation at the waist so that there's like an upper body and a lower body animation that can happen for each situation is it's a huge job, and they're working on it right now. And it's gonna open up a lot of options for WASD and other control things like that to be better, basically. And little things like the Primeless is the only one that's done for right now, I think. But like when you're walking, and right now the body is like it's always upright, and the turn there's no indication that your character's animation is responding to turning. Go outside and try and run around in a circle, and you'll notice that your body is like at an angle until like the inside of that circle as it's like pivoting. You'll be at the inside of that. That'll probably look really weird. And so we're, and obviously not that extreme, but like it'll like lean in properly, and like we're changing the way that, because that animation is changing, it'll be able to let us shorten the time between when you've, how does this, when you're using an ability, there's a lead up time, when then there's like the point that the ability actually gets created and you're like locked into casting it, and then you're like the cast is like finished, but there's like a cooldown or a trail. There's proper names for this in animation, and I'm clearly not an animator, as you can tell I'm not using the right terms. But there's like this tail portion of the animation that doesn't necessarily need to be there for a functionality purpose, but visually it does look nice if you're doing it on its own. But from like a player gameplay feel, being locked into that animation for longer than you need to feels bad. So with the changes happening to the animations, we're able to shorten the time that you're locked into those animations by quite a bit. And so the game just feels more responsive and snappy, and it especially feels a lot better in WASD controls as well. Just want to bring it up because we're WASD question. All right, 2 quick questions. Is there a possibility of getting random encounters and echoes like D4 Butcher that is hard but guarantees something like 3LP tied to your class? Maybe, possibly. We've kind of dabbled in things like that. There's some Weaver Tree echo. There's some Weaver Tree nodes that do things kind of like that a little bit. But like they're not. It doesn't. Yeah, it does pull bosses in actually. So yeah, like there's things like that we've kind of dabbled with. The specific rewards, I like that specific example. We don't have anything like that, but it could be. Suggestions channel on our Discord. It's a great place to put it. Second question: can we get a super rare chance for a secret lizard echo that has hundreds of lizards? T7s, 2 to 4 LPs, millions of gold. There is no secret lizard echo. I'm sorry. Does sound pretty awesome though. Hey Mike, can we get your smile as MTX? Oh, that makes me feel great. I'm just gonna smile more now. No, kinda technically, actually, in a way, in a weird, very weird roundabout way, kinda. Where is it? There it is. I'm not gonna be able to see it because of all the minions around. Let's unequip some minions. Oh god. Oh god, the skill points. Ruined for a bit. It's okay. Here we go. That tiny little face right there that we can't zoom in on anymore. That's my face. I'm smiling. So technically, yes, you can get my smile as MTX. Yes, yeah, there is. Okay, let's crap. We are going to really quickly just see if we can find what's important here. Two, it wants 2 in here, really? I'm supposed to put it in here? I'm supposed to have Death Knights? Oh, have I been doing this all wrong? I've been doing this all wrong. Okay, well, this is a completely different build to what I'm doing. Yeah, this is just wildly different from what I've been doing. So we're going to ignore this build and we'll fix mine later. Good golly, Miss Molly, this is different. I gotta fix mine. Mine's clearly wrong. Don't copy mine. If you're looking for a build, mine is probably poo-poo garbage by comparison to what's out there. Yep. I just did not take any of the same stuff I was supposed to, I think. And that's fine. Okay, this is Mage, and this is Wraith, and this is Golem. Alright, any thoughts on the Nintendo patents they've been given recently, Minions specifically? Short answer is no. I've been watching all the same YouTube videos you have on it. I guess is the way I can say that tactfully. I don't personally know enough about patent law, and like I haven't read the specific patents myself. I don't think I will until it becomes a real problem. I don't think it affects Last Epoch at all in any way, which is the most like head in the sand, selfish way to think about it, which is not good. But I haven't had a chance to really dig into it and find out if there's issues, or if there's even if there are issues, like I don't think there's anything that I can do about it, even if there was. I do think it's a really interesting topic, and I'm hoping to dive into it a little bit more soon, personally. In general, I think in general, I'm not a huge fan of patenting game mechanics, just in general. I think there might be a good reason for it. I don't know what those reasons are, if there are any. Yeah, my gut reaction is kind of like, feels weird. But I'm far from an expert, so I really don't, I probably said too much anyways. All right, any chance we could get a creator cosmetic supporter pack in the future? We're talking about, so in the past we've done creator supporter packs, which is creator tiers have always been for making your own unique item in the game. So like, for example, like Aaron's Will was a creator supporter pack unique. This definitely was. Do I know any others off the top of my head right away? Nope. Oh, there's so many here that I know were, and I just don't remember exactly which ones. This was a really, really, really early one. This was one. But okay, so long story short, there still are some that people have paid for that we're trying to get done. If you've got one that's pending that hasn't been done yet, please reach out to us. We may have missed you off some list or something. If we haven't contacted you very recently about it, we've basically sent out emails to all the pending ones recently being like, let's get these done now, please. We're trying to get those done. And so if you've got one, check your email. You probably have an email from us. I'd love to add more. We lose money on them, quite frankly. Like even selling them for $1,000, we lose money on them, which sounds ridiculous, but we do. and like the company does. And I think they're fantastic to do. They're great for the community. It gets fresh ideas, fresh viewpoints into the game for it. They're just wonderful. And I'd love to do more of them. The hard part is picking who gets to do them fairly. That's the really hard part. And so I'd love to. I don't know the best way to do it fairly, but like some sort of draw or like I don't know. I'm sure there's some way to do it that is fair, but charging $10,000 for them to like just shrink the pool of people that want to do it to the point where we can do all the ones like, you know, like if we say like, okay, we're doing them, they're $1,000 just like they've always been, but we're only gonna sell 5 of them, and it's whoever clicks the button first gets it. Like that sucks. And if we do say like, okay, well, there's 5, and you just have to say you want it, and then it's like people will. There's ways to kind of abuse the system where it's like, if someone really wants it, and then like 50 people say they want it, and then it's just like the one person gets 50 votes. If that makes any sense? Like 50 cracks at it. So it's I don't know. It's tricky to do fairly, and not have it be way too expensive. Because having it be way too expensive it solves the problem, but it's just insane. I don't want to do that. Any chance on a Mac port? Ellie used to run on my Mac, yes, when I bought it, but now I can't play it. Yes, when Mac changed their processors, we dropped Mac support. I don't think there's any talk of bringing it back. I think there's still ways to play it with. There's like some software you can run that causes you to be able to put like Windows software on it. I do not know enough about it. I'm sorry, but I think there's a way to do it still. But it requires some things that people aren't usually interested in doing. I think it might be the problem. I don't think it's likely that we will be expanding to for native Mac support again. I don't think we're bringing that back. You never know. There might be some reason we do, but I have not heard anyone internally mention it as like a target or a thing we're planning or anything like that at all. Now, I'm not directly involved with everything, but usually stuff like that I catch wind of. That's a close one. All right. What is the situation with DLSS support? I have no idea. I thought it was coming. I thought it was coming in season 3. I found out significantly before season 3 it wasn't coming, and I stopped saying it was, which is good. I don't know where it is. I don't know why we haven't gotten it yet. I would hope as soon. I feel like that's probably one of those things that's a requirement for consoles, which we like. PlayStation, I don't know enough about this. This is one of those things again. I have a feeling that it's probably a requirement. I don't know if PlayStation specifically requires it or not. There was a question there for a brief moment. See if we can find something more. We're like right at the end. So close. Fixing it. Unclear. We'll get there. Thanks, Derek. Appreciate you. I kind of don't want to start another echo. We've got 2 minutes left. Can I hammer one out? Let's see if we can do it. Let's do one of these. We'll see everything. Ooh. It became a Thornslinger. Oops. Root of Havoc, chase it down. Yes, was that? That was a 3 LP slab. 2's still cool. Ooh, it's down there. All right. Pushing through. Charge that beacon. Since announcing the expansion, do you expect backlash from backers based on what you have promised versus what has been delivered? I always expect backlash from someone based on everything we release every single time. I think we have tried to deliver everything we could from Kickstarter, from like the original version of what we put on Kickstarter. We've tried our best to deliver everything we put on there. There've been a few things that we've been unable to do. There's been a few things that we've realized was just a bad idea to do, and we didn't do it. I think if we had stuck perfectly to what was proposed on Kickstarter originally, the game would be worse. I think rigidly sticking to the Kickstarter proposal is a mistake that very few games or projects get wrapped up in. And I think there's a very big difference between Kickstarter projects that are essentially completed and need money for publishing, along the lines of like board games and TTRPG books and things like that. So it's like a distribution Kickstarter, not a development Kickstarter. And I think that's a big distinction, is that when you have a Kickstarter that is coming from that development standpoint, it is like, it's not, here's what you're gonna get, we promise. This is our plan for what we think we want to make, and it could change a lot by the time we get there. Who knows? And I think that's a really important distinction, that like it's really clear on Kickstarter's site that this is the case, but it doesn't look that way. And I think there's because there are so many projects that go through Kickstarter that are basically finished projects, it does appear like like, hey, you're like, this is what you're going to get exactly in this form. And so it's a very delicate balance where we try to stay as close to what the original Kickstarter said while still just making the best game possible. So if there's something that like we can do in there, we go for it. Now I think we've long since exceeded the reasonable expectations of anyone who backed on Kickstarter. I feel like everything that's happened in the last like 2 years even has just been gravy on top of the Kickstarter. And that's not to say it's not reasonable for people to be upset that they didn't get what they were expecting in certain situations. That's very reasonable. But I don't know necessarily if there is like a moral obligation to do exactly what it says, because I don't think we'd end up with as good of a game in the long run. So the question was about backlash from the expansion stuff, and yeah, it's always trying to find the best way forward for us, really. And you know, if people are expecting one thing and we end up with something else, I think it's natural and reasonable to be disappointed with that, for sure. And to voice those disappointments is completely rational and reasonable and normal and fine and great. And we'll always listen to those disappointments if they come up, and we'll do our best to improve upon it for next time and to like fix the issues that people are having. Like that's why we encourage so much feedback, is because that information is so important to us to craft as Last Epoch being the best game it can be. Yeah. I guess all I can say is that if someone is disappointed with it for some reason, let us know and we'll do our best to make it so you're not disappointed anymore. Yeah. All right. Is there a way to look at the stats of a specific skill beyond the tooltips and specific to that skill itself for estimated DPS or ward or etc.? In game currently, no, there's no way to do that. There are some third-party sites that have data mined a lot of stuff from the game, that have a lot of extra info and detail on skills that don't exist, information in the game. So for like Last Epoch Tools and Tunk Lab both have tons of information of extra stuff that we don't show in the game. There's just like tables and tables and tables of like specific details on like enemy abilities and things like that. I usually use Tunk Lab for that. Yeah, so there's some good third-party sites that have a lot of that info, but for for what's in the game, like you're like, this is about as good as you're gonna get. There's a little bit of extra information in certain spots. What's a good example? Mage sacrifice alt. There we go. Yeah. So if you hold alt on a skill that references another ability like this, a node that references another ability, you'll see a tooltip for that. Or if there's an item that grants another ability, you can hold alt and it'll give you more information about that as well. Yeah. Yeah, about it. And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. I hope you had fun. I know I did. I'll be back same time, same place next week. If you had a question that I didn't answer, please, it was not intentional, please feel free to head on over to our Discord and drop it in the Acid Devs channel there. Do my best to answer as many questions. There's also community members that are able to answer most of the questions that get put in there. They do a great job too. Yeah. We'll see you around. I hope you had fun. Drink lots of water. Let's go say hi to someone. That's what I usually have up that I didn't. I usually have this prepped. And wait a second. Well, I'm just going to type the one that I know. He's probably playing it. This is what happens when I'm not prepared. We're going to go say hi to Aaron. He's probably listening in. Yeah. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next week.